Welcome to the American Intelligence Media. I'm Douglas Gabriel, also known as Thomas Pain in the Ass of the Globalists, and today I'm going to be a pain in the ass of Gateway Pundit. And the reason is because they've slandered us, they've lied, and their little phrase, "we report the truth and leave the Russia conspiracy fairy tale to the conspiracy media," which is at the top of their page, is incorrect. They certainly didn't report the truth about us when they mention us in a report, which I'm going to detail here in just a minute. And the author of this report, of this article particularly, is Jacob Ingalls. This was a February 18th, 2019 article. And it is entitled, "Hoaxed, Media falsely claims Roger Stone, shared image of corrupt Judge Amy Berman Jackson in crosshairs." It's an updated article. Now, if you've not noticed this article about Stone and Amy Berman Jackson, it is really in the news because, of course, Roger Stone is a publicist, and then basically he was part of the most powerful Republican opposition research group, Stone, Manafort, Kelly, and Black, and basically they're kind of the counterpoint to the Podesta brothers. Great power Stone had at one point when he helped put 3 presidents in the office of the White House. And so Stone has been called into the Mueller Special Counsel investigation, and he has 7 charges brought against him, some for lying to Congress, others for lying to the Special Counsel investigation, which you know those are process crimes. In fact, we've now pointed out that it is not illegal to lie to Congress, unless, of course, you're a Republican. But everyone else gets to lie to Congress and nothing happens. Indictment for lying to the special counsel, well, they had surveilled everyone, you see, and they're using their surveillance against them, and they get one wrong word, they call that lying. It's not lying at all. Stone is not guilty of anything. Now, what he is guilty of is being very, very ridiculously unthoughtful when he posted a picture of Amy Berman Jackson, and up in the left-hand corner is a cross that has a circle in the middle of it. Now, Gateway Pundit goes into detail about this, and they're completely off. They're completely 100% off. Nothing they say, the a priori assumption of this article is completely off. And if Mr. Jacob Ingalls wishes to debate this with me, please give us a call here, and we'll put you on the air, and you can try to justify the things you've said, which basically show your astounding ignorance in relationship to symbology, religion, Christianity, paganism, you name it. You have completely missed the mark, and you are certainly not sharing the truth. And so we're going to go into the truth here in just a minute. But let me just explain a little bit further. This article that, well, actually, it was Roger Stone tweeted, and he tweeted a picture taken from an article that aimed for truth, the Anonymous Patriots, Truth News Headlines, the Cat Report, all of us. We didn't write that article. We didn't create that picture. And we didn't put that cross with the circle around it in the picture. And an idiot could figure that out, let alone supposedly an investigative journalist who simply needs to turn in his press card because you didn't investigate anything. Everything you say in here is incorrect about us. And you shouldn't have done that because we've been broadcasting now for years, and we have a challenge to anyone who listens to us. Find anything we say that is not true and report it back to us. We will correct it on the spot, and we will apologize. So far, I once said von Steuben was a German, and he was a Prussian. There was one mistake. Michael McKibben has caught me in 3 or 4 mistakes because I quoted the wrong number. In one case, it was only one number off, but still. And I challenge anybody out there, and I challenge this Jacob Ingalls, who is no friend of truth when it comes to aim for truth, to please justify what you've said. Otherwise, we want a full retraction and an apology. And not hidden away somewhere on your site, headline, apologizing to Aim for Truth. The picture did not come from us. The supposed crosshairs picture did not come from us, or what you're calling neo-pagan heathenism did not come from us. How dare you in this age, when you could have asked your 5th grade daughter to track back that picture, find better answers than you came up with. You are pathetic. Yes, we did run that article, and in the article, and I'm not even going to tell you who wrote the article, because anyone can figure it out. And I'm not going to basically draw attention back to that site. But the point is, we get articles from all over the place, and we post them, and we give you the URL it came from, and we tell you who it came from, and it's clear in the article who it came from. We don't obfuscate anything as you have obfuscated here, attempting to get some kind of knowledgeable, truthful statement about why Amy Berman Jackson overreacted, and you believe that the crosshairs, supposed crosshairs in the picture with her, is simply aim for truth's belief in paganism and heathenism. Spend 5 minutes or just read to the end of any paragraph. We are Christian. We are anything but pagan. We are anything but heathen. And we didn't create the stupid sign that you are misinterpreting the symbol. It can be interpreted 1,000 ways. But one thing you did get right. If it was crosshairs, it wasn't on her face or body, so it would have been a miss. How many times do we see crosshairs on President Trump? Those people are supposed to go to jail for doing that. There's been, how many people have, look at Griffin. She cut off his head and did a reenactment, basically, or an enactment of an ISIS beheading. She should be in jail. How come this judge, sure, she's not an elected official, and I wish they were so that we could unelect them, but that judge actually needs to be impeached, and particularly because she's working with Mueller, and she stacked these cases, and what she did to Manafort should put her in jail. Because it's the same thing. She put a house arrest on Manafort and then put a gag order on him. It wasn't specific. It said he broke the gag order and then put him in prison. Paul Manafort from the Robert Mueller Special Counsel investigation is in prison because of Amy Berman Jackson. Look at what she did. She allowed Hillary Clinton to get off in Benghazi, and that's what Roger Stone really put there, and that's what made her mad. He quoted somebody else on his Twitter saying that this is the same person who let Clinton off for Benghazi. Those were 2 wrongful deaths. The facts are astoundingly clear if anyone wants to seek the truth on that. But no, Amy Berman Jackson allowed her to get off. And look at what she's doing with Robert Mueller. And look at the way this cases have been assigned to her, not randomly, but specifically so that she is she's the one who's the sniper, and she's the friend of Eric Holder. She let Eric Holder off for Fast and Furious and didn't make him give to Congress the information that they were looking for. And Congress held Eric Holder in contempt of Congress, and Amy Berman Jackson backed up Eric Holder. So I say, you want something to talk about, Jacob Ingalls? I've already said this. I'm going to say it before. Amy Berman Jackson is the sharpshooter sniper for Eric Holder. He's running for president, isn't he? And what is Amy doing? She's taking down the opposition the best she can by trying to foist upon Manafort, Gates, and the special counsel upon Roger Stone, upon Corsi and others, some kind of insane concept that there was a conspiracy, collusion, corruption, or whatever. None of that ever happened. She's trying to find it, even though we've had, the Senate, the House, there was an Inspector General case concerning it, but also 3 intelligence community reports, as well as a hidden report, which was also done. So there have been 6 reports and a current IG investigation, and not one speck of corruption, collusion, conspiracy, and Amy Berman Jackson is trying to invent it out of pure air by putting these fake, horrible, I don't even have words for this, but putting a gag order on someone who you are crucifying and you don't allow them to have free speech in America? When did that ever happen? I'll tell you when it happened. With Robert Mueller cases, with William Douglas Campbell, who he put a gag order on, who was the FBI asset that Mueller and Andrew McCabe used to penetrate the Uranium One deal here in America, 10X, which was total corruption for 10 years. He put a gag order on him. He put a gag order on all the people who would announce the truth that Robert Mueller is the most corrupt lawyer in America. And Amy Berman Jackson is nothing but his pawn, his step and fetch it girl. And I'm saying this point blank again, but I did not write that article. And I and the Anonymous Patriots and Betsy and her team did not create that symbol. So, Jacob Ingalls, I'm going to go through your ridiculous, pathetic article, and I'm going to rip it to pieces. Go down to about 6th paragraph, and it says, back to the symbol on the image in the context, as if he knows what the symbol is and the context is. I'm going to be giving commentary on this, so you might want to look it up and read the article yourself. It's a stupid article, but you can read it and follow along. Remember, context is all that matters according to the mainstream media and leftists, not intent or end result. That's not truth, and that's stupid. We count on truth, and we make those leftists look at the truth, and we don't care what their short version is, Mr. Ingalls. Going on, when doing a reverse image search online to find the image that Stone shared, obviously, as I say, you didn't use 5th grade intelligence because you misread all of it, and now I'm going to give the lies that you have perpetrated. So your a priori assumption, you're setting everybody up to believe that Aim for Truth, American intelligence media, did this. You are completely wrong. You need to do your homework. And then it goes on. It is exclusively displayed in an article from a far out there website named American Intelligence Media, also known as Aim for Truth. Wrong. That article is everywhere. That article has been had got more hits and more attention and been spread further than anything that the original site that wrote it has ever done. We posted it, and it got us a tremendous amount of attention too. Now, it's true, we know who wrote it, and we know where it came from, and I'm not going to tell you. Because I'm going to demonstrate to you listeners, and I'm going to demonstrate to Mr. Ridiculous, pathetic excuse for a citizen journalist, especially an investigative journalist, which he obviously isn't. He's just a hack. He's a Bill O'Reilly giving his pathetic opinion, and because he comes from a position of authority, he thinks we're going to believe it. No, I don't believe anybody's opinion, no matter what your authority is, until I check it out myself. And you are dead wrong. It was not exclusively displayed in an article from a far out there website. And you insinuate that we wrote the article by saying that it's from us. It's not. We didn't write it. So your first statements, your entire first paragraph has hundreds of omissions and commissions of lies, falsehoods, disinformation, misinformation, and just really pathetic, truly, truly pathetic. And then you show a picture, the picture of Amy Berman Jackson with the crosshairs. Anyone who would interpret that as crosshairs is an idiot. And here we have the picture of Amy Berman Jackson. And that's not even the picture that you will find on that site, the original site. So this picture already I can say is false, plus it doesn't show the footnote that goes with it. If it showed the footnote that goes with it, which you don't even quote because you don't even go back to the original site, you completely pathetic investigative journalist excuse for whatever you are. And generally, your site and your articles, not particularly you, but we don't ever bash your site because you do an adequate job. You're short. You're way short. You're way, way, way short. And in fact, when you say that we are a far out there website, you are correct. We are way far out there in front of the narrative and the spin, even the stuff that you post. Even your articles. We are so far out there because why? We use high-level intelligence and people with a lot of experience to analyze truth, not speculation. In your banner, you talk about conspiracy theory of the Russian conspiracy theory, but you don't mention the Democratic Russian conspiracy theory. So basically, what are you, a disinformation site? Let's go back to your banner. I want to eat your banner alive. You say, Gateway Pundit, we report the truth. No, you don't. And leave the Russia conspiracy fairy tale. It's not a fairy tale. It is a coup d'etat that is active, and it is not a conspiracy. It is a reality. And that you leave it to the media? You leave it to mainstream media, the liars? who've concocted this whole thing. They are completely complicit with Christopher Steele. There's 6 major media stations that were part of Christopher Steele's release of this as they released it. So how dare you leave a coup d'etat of our duly elected president in the hands of media? That's disgusting. I'm sorry, but your banner makes me very upset. That's the reason the only time I ever look at your site is when Betsy and her team have vetted one of your articles, had the conclave vet one of your articles, and it comes up on Truth News headlines, and then I usually have complaints about it, just like this article. Going on underneath the picture, it says, this website, Mr. Ingalls says, quote, this website features similar images of other Mueller allies like Hillary Clinton with the neo-pagan sun cross. Some call it the solar cross or wheel cross, which is used by multiple forms of paganism and heathenism. That cross, any Christian, and I happen to have a PhD in comparative religions. It is not called the solar cross. It is not called a wheel cross. That is what is twisted from the past into the Nazism and Antifa symbols. It is not called the solar cross. Solar cross, you are taking what is called the vision of Constantine, who was the first Roman emperor, who on his way to what would become Constantinople at that time was Istanbul, what we call today Istanbul. Constantine saw a vision of a cross with a circle. Now, he's never really given the exact descriptions of that cross, and so some people put the circle on the outside of the edge of the cross. Some people put the circle in the middle. But one thing is for sure, the greatest Christians who spread Christianity more effectively than anyone were the Irish Christians. And they have a thing called a Celtic cross, a Celtic cross. And that's what most people would associate that with, the cross with the circle. In other words, it is the sun representative of Christ being the representative of the Son, dying on the cross. In other words, not a dead cross, but a living cross. So when a Christian looks at that, they see anything else but crosshairs or a heathen pagan symbol. They see one or the other of the 2 most powerful Christian symbols that there is in Christianity. And it's used throughout all Christianity. And anyone with a brain should know this. And anyone who had ever been raised in any Christian church might have already had association with this. So to call it the Celtic cross, it's not truly a Celtic cross. It is the cross of Constantine. If it was a Celtic cross, yes, it's a basic Celtic cross, but it doesn't have any what they call animal forms, woven forms around it. Many Celtic or Celtic crosses have these amazing woven forms around them. They're unmistakable. And to really associate this early, very basic Celtic cross, saying that's what you think of when you see it. No, I see Constantine's cross. The cross that says, in hoc signo vince, in Latin, in this sign conquer. And I'm sure that that's what the original people who put that up there, it was a double, triple, quadruple entendre. Hello? It was look at what's over on the other side. It says that toxic lawyer. Lawyers are all toxic. Show me a good, honest lawyer. Amy Berman Jackson is not an honest person. Benghazi, she's not going to hold Hillary Clinton responsible for the deaths of Benghazi. She might as well have ordered those deaths. She ended up getting the Stinger missiles and selling them to Syria and making money off of it, going through Israel, Jordan, through the Golan Heights and into Syria. We know this because we find them all over the place with the $1 billion we paid ISIS for. Guess what? Some of that money went to pay Hillary Clinton for taking the Stinger missiles out of Libya and moving them and selling them as an arms dealer to Syria. We actually have the document where she was paid $100,000 for doing it. And then, hello? You want to call lawyers and judges and Amy Berman Jackson honest? No, I'm speaking the truth. And I'm not afraid that I'm speaking the truth. But I tell you what, Gateway Pundit, you didn't speak the truth. No one in their right mind would associate that with paganism. Christianity. Heathenism? That's just a derogatory term for truly active, beautiful mythologies, religions, and beliefs that existed before Christianity. To say that paganism is heathenism shows a level of ignorance that you should just take your writing pen or your pad or your computer and just throw it in the lake. It's used in multiple forms of paganism called the solar cross and wheel cross. No, it's not. No, it's not. Look it up. Wikipedia. Anywhere. Look it up. Wrong. Then it goes on, quote, Aim for Truth's website promotes a glass bead game which seems to pull from New Age spiritualism with a Christian bent if you look at content on their website, and claims to help you reach higher levels. Okay, now he calls us Christian, and he doesn't know Hermann Hesse's glass bead game. We didn't invent it. You illiterate. You, what, did you take no English classes? Have you never read the glass bead game, Magister Ludi, one of the greatest books of all times? One of the most beautiful images in all of literature, the glass bead game. Yes, we play the glass bead game, and yes, it is Christian, and it is not New Age, and it is not spiritualism. Do you even know what the word spiritualism means? No, you obviously don't. You need a dictionary next to you when you're writing. And higher levels? Everyone is ascending or descending. Where are you at, Ingalls? Are you going to higher levels or lower levels? And you make it sound like it's a crime. Quote, in context, their use of the sun cross, he now capitalizes sun cross and says that we use the sun cross. We use the basis of Nazism. He is pathetic. Quote, in context, their use of the sun cross on Corruption Central graphics is anything but a crosshairs. Likely more of a dig on forms of worship that employ the sun cross, which the people behind Aim for Truth likely believe are demonic or practitioners of heathenism or Wicca, meaning it's about spirituality or a lack thereof. Okay, now that is just pathetic. How many concepts have you glued together with superglue there? I mean, really, now you're saying, you're giving us credit for being Christians, saying that we think that Amy Berman Jackson is a heathen. She's Wicca. She's a witch. She's black magic. That's what he's saying here. He's defending us now, after calling us pagans and heathens, and saying that now we use that on Corruption Central, which, what is the Corruption Central? I mean, does anyone even know what that is? He refers to it. What is that? Do you have any idea what you're talking about? And what does that word mean, those words, Corruption Central? Do you have any idea what you're even looking at? Obviously not. And so then he goes on, saying, we believe they're demonic. He just said that Aim for Truth believes Amy Berman Jackson is demonic, a heathen, or Wicca. Okay? We didn't insult her like that. We told the truth. I don't care what her beliefs are. I don't care, no matter what she is. And I could use all the names that all the other conspiracy theorists use all the time to call everyone in Washington, D.C., but I don't do that. And we don't do that. And the Anonymous Patriots don't do that. The Conclave. No. When we call someone a name, it's because it actually fits. I don't know if she's demonic or heathen or Wicca. And then you say, meaning it's about spirituality. Really? Really? The person who made the picture of Amy Berman Jackson put a crosshair or a Nazi sun cross or a pagan, heathen, Wiccan, demonic symbol on it because of spirituality? Well, how did the person who created that picture know about her spirituality? I think much more likely that they were just looking at her indictable evidence, what she's done while she's been on the bench, that she forgave Eric Holder, that she hid Fast and Furious, which means right now, at this very moment, there are AR-15s killing people on our southern border that she approved through Eric Holder. No, I accuse her of being part of murder. I don't accuse her of being demonic, but I do accuse her of basically covering up one of the worst scandals ever, which is still going on, and people are being murdered with those weapons that Eric Holder gave to the drug cartels on the southern border so they could fight each other. Okay? And he wants to run for president. So Amy Berman Jackson is a sniper trying to take out Roger Stone, trying to take out Trump so that Eric Holder can win. Now that is what I accuse her of. And all I'm saying is that's what the facts look like. I mean, ultimately, If you do take Roger Stone down and he takes Trump down, then did you not support your buddy, Eric Holder, who you've been supporting for a long time, and or Hillary Clinton, who may also be running? Therefore, you are, in fact, meddling in the 2020 election, Amy Berman Jackson. And Mr. Jacob Engel, you just need to apologize to us, print a retraction, and say that you're going to go do some kind of study of religious symbology before you open your mouth again about it. Going down to the next paragraph. The content and images of the article featuring Judge Amy Berman Jackson was also featured on another website. Oh, wait, he said exclusively. He already lied. He said it was exclusively on our site. Now he says that it's featured on another website, Cosmic Convergence, which has similar themes of spirituality as Aim for Truth, and nothing about the imagery dealing with guns, crosshairs, violence. The last part is true. We don't do guns, violence, crosshairs. No, don't do that. Are we the same as Cosmic Convergence? No. Many of our articles have been printed there and many other places. We used to print our Anonymous Patriot articles on Before It's News. Trump used to read it. Michael Flynn and his son used to read it. We used to be number one on Before It's News all the time until the lies that they were posting just got to us. We couldn't take it, so we went off on our own. Now, Cosmic Convergence, they'll print anything we sent them, but it has to be spiritual, and usually, we almost always do a Christian. Sometimes we do other things, but if we do other things, it's tying it to Christianity also. And so you are dead wrong. It's not about spiritualism. Spiritualism is when you sit around in a seance. Spiritualism. Do you have any idea what that means? No, obviously not. So we don't do spiritualism. We don't do contact with the dead. We don't do anything that isn't complete, clear, waking consciousness. Okay? And when we write, many other sites pick up our articles and print them. But we didn't write that article. And we did not, but no, you false news. You're fake news. We didn't write that article, Mr. Jacob Engel's fake news, because why? We simply printed it. We write other articles. Now, Amy Berman Jackson, the Anonymous Patriots have not written an article about her. We could, but we've given out audios on her. So if you want something to condemn us for, or you want to look to see if we made any mistakes, Jacob Engel, go back and listen to all of our audios, because guess what? No one has ever demonstrated that anything we've said was untrue. I challenge you to find something that's untrue. And the article on Cosmic Convergence, never would Cosmic Convergence print that article about Amy Berman Jackson. That's just, and to conflate them is sheer confabulation on your part, and it's obfuscation, and you're basically just creating another paragraph, I guess, just to fill the space. I guess you write simply because you know how to type, or maybe you don't know how to type, maybe you handwrite, but just because you can put words on a page don't mean they're true, and it doesn't mean that someone isn't going to challenge you. So you're all wrong. You've said two truths out of all of this. All the rest, everything a lie. Now, let's go on. And I just love where he goes with this, because now he goes just completely nuts. This is unbelievable, what is here. A matter of fact, Gateway Pundit, I don't know why they didn't scrub this article, because it's so full of lies. And we want you to apologize, and we don't want to have to sue you, but you could get us kicked off the air. No one can kick us off broadcasting because we tell the truth. You tell nothing but lies in this story here. Oh, well, not all lies, but anything concerning us practically is a lie. And you should be basically taken down by these AIs, they say, that are scrubbing for false fake news. You are false fake news in this article. Next paragraph, quote, if you really wanted to get really in depth about any other interpretation of the Sun Cross, now he names it the Sun Cross, in the context of the photo that Roger shared of Judge Amy Berman Jackson, two other possibilities exist. You must be out of your mind. There are a million other possibilities. And this one is insane. Quote, a Norwegian offshoot of the Nazis used a variation of it during World War II, but that makes no sense in the context of what the images have been used for or where they have been placed. You're out of your mind. A Norwegian offshoot of the Nazis? Do you understand that Norway Oh, don't even get me started. That's insane. Quote, lastly, some white supremacists have used variation. Now they're calling us white supremacists? Were Norwegian Nazis possibly? Were some white supremacists? Pathetic. Pathetic. Your apology better be really good. Lastly, quoting, lastly, some white supremacists have used variations of the sun cross, but again, context rules that out. Then why did you bring it up? Unless, of course, you want to reason that the people behind the graphic are alleging that Judge Amy Berman Jackson is a time-traveling Norwegian Nazi or undercover. I'm going to say that again because I yelled, and you must not miss this. This is so precious. Unless, of course, you want to reason, call that reason. Unless, of course, you want to reason that the people behind the graphic, that's us, he's saying, we're alleging that Judge Amy Berman Jackson is a time-traveling Norwegian Nazi or undercover neo-Nazi spiritualist, and that the intent was to expose her for those associations. Okay, I'm sorry. For that sentence alone, your site should be taken down. Because anyone reading this who didn't have a sharp mind or a sense for discernment, that would now associate a fake Norwegian Nazi group with white supremacists who's a neo-Nazi spiritualist, and that's what we're saying she is, or we could be saying, or that may be what we're saying. That's certainly one of the two possibilities. He says there's only two possibilities. And then he gives one. But the one includes neo-Nazi, Norwegian Nazi, or a spiritualist. Choose, you make your choice. Those are that's what he says. That's what it means. One of those. Man, I hope you do a real research of our blogs and read to the end of every article so that you can get educated, so that maybe you can bring to Gateway Pundit the truth, because what you're saying here shows that you wouldn't know the truth if it bit you in the rear. Okay? Now, under that, new line, because it's cool to write just one single sentence, and make that a paragraph. Quote, that sounds even crazier than it being a crosshairs. In other words, he is calling Amy Berman Jackson's interpretation crazy, and it's even crazier, or at least as crazy, and probably crazier, than calling her a Norwegian Nazi or an undercover neo-Nazi spiritual. Really? This is just unbelievable. And then we'll close it out simply because I'm going to give you the end, and this is just really, it's stupid. Next paragraph, the media will likely never apologize for failing to do their research. How about you apologizing, Jacob Engel? You need to apologize. The media will likely never apologize for failing to do their research on this or for manufacturing another hoax in order to drive their anti-gun and never Trump wet dreams. Okay, I find it insulting referring to wet dreams. I mean, that's your deal. That's your projection. Maybe you're still a pre-pubescent child having wet dreams, but that's disgusting. The reference is disgusting, okay? And the reference now, another hoax in order to drive their anti-gun and never Trump wet dreams. Anti-gun? Really, this is anti-gun? No one would believe Amy Berman Jackson's story that was crosshairs, especially if they went to the bottom and saw the footnote that said exactly what that is. You imbecile. You didn't, she didn't, you didn't do your research, she didn't do her research. And now to say it's an anti-gun, never-Trumper wet dream? No, it's a never-Trumper. It's a sniper trying to take out Trump through the special counsel fake investigation. And you, sir, did not do your research. And this is not a hoax. This is a false flag. Amy Berman Jackson is using this to put now a full gag order on Roger Stone, knowing that he will violate it. She will probably put him in jail. She will put him in jail if he violates it. She hopes to put him in jail so that she gets another person, that Mueller can say they put in jail, just like Manafort. What did Manafort do? He called someone on the phone. He was told not to contact Russians or anyone concerned with the case. The person he called is an American and is not concerned with the case, but they put him in jail. Said that broke the gag order. And then they didn't give him his medicine. You want to know why he looks so bad? They didn't give him his medicine. They're trying to kill Paul Manafort. Especially before they do the sentencing. Because remember, The only crimes Paul Manafort has been charged with are his cases in Virginia and in New York, not in D.C. We have yet to see him the sentence being given, and it's being held back. It may even be held back until after the Mueller investigation because there is no crime. And so Amy Berman Jackson is trying to create a crime here. Just like Dabney, the other judge, is trying to create a crime with Concord Catering, and the only person who showed up, who was indicted. Okay, so, Mueller investigation, what do they have? 3 whores, 25 fictitious Russians, and George Papadopoulos, who was framed. He got framed and he had to go to jail for a day because he lied. General Flynn lost his job because of lies. We now know it's all lies. General Flynn didn't do anything wrong, and yet he still isn't being given his sentence. He should have been working for Trump, getting the corporate intelligence out as he planned to do. We wouldn't have most of this if the corporate intelligence wasn't there driving all of this nonsense. Okay? And then who else? Manafort. Those were crimes that had nothing to do with Trump. No crime, no conspiracy, no collusion, no corruption, no anything between Trump and the Trump team and Russia, period. It was all Hillary, Podesta, their team. And literally, we have named so many Russians involved with the Russian conspiracy to meddle in the 2016 election. I'm not even going to list them for you, because it might give Jacob Ingle something to do, and maybe he'd write untruthful articles about all the real Russians involved. Oh, no, that's right. They're leaving the Russian fairy tale. It is not a fairy tale. It is a coup d'etat. It is the overthrow of our republic. You don't seem to know we're in a revolution, Gateway Pundit. Wake up. This isn't a joke. Your banner at the top is a disgusting joke. It makes me want to vomit. And what you've said here, all lies. You need to retract it. Just like you say, mainstream media needs to apologize. No, you need to apologize. You say mainstream media needs to do the research. No, you need to do your research. Challenge me. I'll do an audio with you, and I will make every single lie out of your mouth demonstrated to be that. Because all you've done here is taken basically a citizen journalist site and trash them with your stupid, ignorant lack of research, lack of investigation, lack of even reading to the end of any sentence that we've ever written, or lack of, in fact, showing anything that came from Aim for Truth, because everything you're talking about didn't even come from us. All you had to do was ask your 5th grader to trace it back to where it came from, and you would know that your a priori assumption is completely wrong. But we go much further. We go even further than that article goes, and we go much, much further than your interpretation of what that symbol means. And so if you really want the truth, Gateway Pundit, stop reading your own stuff. Come to our site. That site would be Aim for Truth, Truth News Headlines, and the Cat Report, or any of the other blogs that we do, which you didn't mention because you obviously didn't research it for more than, a nanosecond? And then you created your pathetic interpretation of a symbol? We would actually like for you to come on the air and broadcast it, because what you've done is so egregious that you could get us kicked off, because you are making accusations here that if... Remember, these are AIs. These are subroutines reading the words. They don't care. It's not a human. They can't find truth. They're looking for the words. You just accused us with all this slander, with all these names of being all these things, and then you accuse us of accusing Amy Berman Jackson of the same thing? You, sir, Jacob Ingle, and your lawyers at Gateway Pundit better get your apology in order.